TGIF and happy Friday. I'm happy to say that at the time of this recording, the crypto market, for a lot of different reasons, multiple variables, but things are starting to heat up. Today, the altcoin season index tapped into so-called altcoin season territory, which is the first time we've seen that since all the way back in December of last year, December 2024. Now, on September 17th, we're just under a week from that date, there's a widespread expectation of this big rate cut announcement. That is when the Federal Reserve schedules its next policy meeting. According to Polymarket, there's an 87% chance, according to the wisdom of the crowd, that we'll see at least a 25 basis points rate cut. And actually, as you can see, there's even an 11% expectation of a 50 basis points decrease. So with this kind of in the background, with this context, we're looking at $1,367 specifically in terms of dry powder at our disposal to add to our portfolio as things are starting to heat up, as kind of the macro level variables are coming together. And as usual, of course, we're following the smart money because the fact of the matter is there are major institutions in Wales that are targeting some of these altcoins as well that are actively investing in them. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. TGIF, happy Friday and all the best of luck if you choose to invest. If that's the case, I wish you well. But I am not a financial or investment advisor. Just remember that. And by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. All right, let's get right into it with pick number one here. The first altcoin that we're considering in the context of September 17th, and that date is Cardano and its ADA token. Of course, it's staying in the spotlight as a project for a lot of different reasons. There's quite a bit as of late that's new with Cardano. There is kind of one glaring negative when it comes to Cardano, unfortunately. That is its vouchers. Let's examine those now. There have been many questions about the ADA voucher redemption process, and really the major issue was that Cardano insiders stole or at the very least misused ADA, and that ADA should have been allocated to voucher holders. Input-output ran this process after 2021. So in May of 2025, IOG started an investigative report and forensic audit. This audit took a closer look at the ADA voucher program. And then earlier this month in September, the audit came to its completion. In the process, tens of thousands of documents were reviewed. However, the result was that none of the allegations had any basis. So that's an important moment in terms of clearing any suspicion on the side of the alleged insiders. But despite that reassurance, if we look at the last 2 weeks, Wales, I guess, weren't convinced. They sold over 140 million ADA. But despite those actions, and kind of surprisingly, to be honest, ADA remained pretty stable and is currently at just below 89 cents right now. That's up a couple percentage points on the month. So it just shows that smaller buyers are absorbing supply and for the most part maintaining that bullish momentum, perhaps in a marginal way, but that is the case. The 85% level was very clutch support for ADA. And as long as that's maintained, the reality is that we could see ADA price surge to $1.13, anywhere between that and $3.13. The Grayscale ETF filing is also giving pretty good support here as well. Polymarket now gives it an 83% chance of happening this year at some time in 2025. And according to Bitcoin Census, a $1.86 price may also be in the cards soon. So going back to our budget, we put 30% of it towards ADA. That equates to $410. Quick shout out to Surge here, which is a risk-free prediction game that you can play right now on Telegram, where you just swipe in order to guess either price pumps or dumps. You earn rewards in the process, and you pick up some market skills in terms of technical analysis while you're at it as well. Surge has also kicked off a daily giveaway, and it's very simple. The rules are just that every day there's a coin of the day. Today it is SUI, S-U-I. All you have to do is swipe in order to find it on the Surge app. Then you screenshot it and drop it under their tweet. One random reply is going to win $10 in USDT. It is that easy. So check out Surge. There's a link in the description below. Have some fun playing, have some fun swiping, and maybe in the process you can snag some prizes as well. At number 2 here on this list is Solana, and of course the SOL token, SOL, which is a project, has been making some good announcements. The token has also been doing pretty well over these last 30 days. It's up about 20% in that time. That's for various reasons. For starters, there's the Alpenglow upgrade. This is going to be the network's biggest overhaul in all of Solana's history, and it's going to bring transaction finality from 12.8 seconds all the way down to 150 milliseconds. So that's massive. Solana was, already fast, but this is bringing it into the next level. Perhaps it's actually going a few levels beyond where it was before. This is very, very big. There was also a community vote that approved the upgrade, and we had no fewer than 98.27% of all validators who voted in favor of the upgrade. That means that Alpenglow is going to completely replace Solana's current consensus system. Solana's ecosystem also has some great projects. Of course, there are the likes of Jupiter and Radium, plus we can't forget Pudgy Penguins. However, there are also some great smaller projects, some hidden gems out there like Camino Finance or SUI Network. In fact, today those two did a respective 13.6% and 11.8%. They also have comparatively very small market caps, which means there's lots of growth potential here, much more so than some of the big caps out there. And that just lines up very nicely with all the rest of the bull run that we have ahead of us. Camino, for example, has a $184.4 million market cap, while SUI is even smaller at $58.7 million. But getting back to Solana and the SOL token, the current price is $239, just below $240. So the next, I would argue, psychological and probably most important mark is the $250 level. And just like ADA, I am dedicating 30% of my budget towards SOL. That's another $140. This Altcoin Buzz Spotlight video is sponsored by SUI. Altcoins right now seem to finally be on the move from what has been a pretty rough 2025 so far in the crypto markets, but people are kind of getting that feeling that alt season may start soon if it hasn't already. And SUI is having a great 2025 so far by comparison, by bucking the otherwise nasty trend from most in the first half of the year, while still growing right now. It has quickly become one of the leading altcoins in this market and is up over 370% in the last year, in the last 12 months. Let's check out why. First of all, SUI is crushing it on all fronts in which it's involved. It's killing it in the big sectors that it supports, like DeFi. That's where SUI nearly crossed $2 billion in TVL and is almost at $1.5 billion in record time. SUI also has some of the fastest stablecoin growth of any chain, so people are using it for real transactions. And Walrus is changing the game in decentralized data storage. Its token launch was a big success, while Seal and Nautilus make things more secure and more private. Plus, SUI Play 0x1 is coming in September and is now officially sold out with 10,000 pre-orders. SUI even has a small but rapidly growing meme coin market for the meme coin lovers out there, if that's your jam. If you haven't used SUI lately, then you should come check it out. Give it a try. And also follow SUI's X account for all the latest updates. Check out the link in the description below. Next up, and at number 3, is Stellar, whose token and ticker is XLM. This one's in the top 20 of altcoins as measured by market cap. We have lots of positive developments happening with Stellar as a project as well. For example, just one of the reasons why Stellar has been doing so well lately is the institutional interest that as a project it's getting. And that's not strange, since Stellar in a way tries to do something similar to what Ripple and XRP is doing. Stellar offers fast and very low-cost cross-border payments. And then, of course, everything by extension that goes hand in hand with this. So, for instance, Paxos, this is a stablecoin issuer, and maybe you know it from PayPal's PYUSD or Binance's BUSD. Well, it managed to scale these projects to market caps of $1 billion and $25 billion, respectively. Now, it plans to launch the USDH stablecoin on Stellar. And what's noteworthy is that Paxos is one of the first issuers that can legally issue stablecoins in Europe. USDH is a stablecoin meant for the Hyperliquid DEX ecosystem, and Paxos is one of the competing firms that's trying to get the issuing rights to USDH. And just to make a long story short, this is bringing in a lot more institutional interest, obviously, to Stellar. So combine this with the upcoming Genius Act and the MiCA rules, which are going to be coming into effect in Europe, and you can kind of see where this is going. One example is that it's going to reinforce regulatory credibility in a major way. So we're adding 20% of our dry powder budget to Stellar, XLM. That equates to $275. XLM, or Lumen, is kind of a bit stale at the moment at a current price of just over 39 cents. There's not a lot of price appreciation that's kind of been reflecting all the positivity, but there's more upside possible, I would argue, very soon in the 40 to 45 cent range during this month. And then beyond that, much more potential, obviously. Over the past year, despite the kind of grim looking month that we've had these last 30 days, XLM is up over 300%. All right, and last but not least here at number 4, we're looking at Ethena. Ticker is ENA, E-N-A. We just talked about Paxos, and here's kind of in line with that, another stablecoin issuer to consider. So this is extremely active in DeFi as a project, and it issues a synthetic dollar stablecoin, that is the USDE. It also offers a crypto-native dollar savings instrument, that's the Internet Bond. So this is a dollar-denominated digital savings instrument. It offers yield to users, and this combines crypto staking rewards with funding rates from derivatives markets. You can see this as a kind of decentralized savings account, but it not only stores value, it also generates returns. And if that sounds familiar, then you can take a look at your traditional savings account, basically, but in a more efficient way. So whales obviously are interested in ENA. That's the governance token for Ethena. It allows you to vote on governance proposals and earn rewards in the process. There's one whale in particular that's been selling off lots of Pepe and Pendle and has swapped them out for ENA. So much so that they actually now own more ENA than Pepe. They now have 21.82 million ENA in their wallet, which is around $17.5 million. But despite all of this positive momentum and these good announcements and developments, kind of as we saw with Stellar, the price of ENA is down a few percentage points, 3.7% on the month. It is up closer to 15% if we look at just the last 2 weeks. So there's more enthusiasm as of late. But look, either way, this is still a very good entry point, 75.5 or so cents. That's about half of its previous all-time high. And I feel pretty strongly that once altcoin season really does get into full swing, it has started, but once it gets into full swing, this is a project that should go well beyond that previous all-time high. As such, we've allocated another 20% of our portfolio, or $275 to ENA.